When it comes to our health, there is no getting away from the fact that after what we've all been through as a global collective, health should now, more than ever, be your number one priority in life. Taking care of your health and well-being will ensure that you have the best chance of fighting off COVID or any other supervirus that we are faced with in the uncertain future that lies ahead of us. On a scale of 1 to 10, how healthy would you say you are right now? And in fact, what does being healthy even mean to you? If, like many, you perceive great health as having a great diet and exercising regularly, then you're part of the way there. But these elements are only focusing on the physical part of the equation of what constitutes great health. Now, traditional Western medicine takes a very reactive approach to health, one which focuses on treating the physical body with pharmaceutical drugs, and in worst cases surgery. And this kind of approach means that all too often it is too late to take any action by the time the disease shows up in our physical body, and this is when the dreaded terminal diagnosis shows up. By focusing solely on the physical symptoms that appear when illness or disease show up, we are overlooking the fact that our mind and body are intrinsically connected, and whatever is wrong on the level of the physical will always have an underlying cause that begins on a much deeper level within our mind. The problem is our education system limits our capacity to be in great health, as we aren't taught about what actually constitutes great health. This leaves us reliant on our family and carers to pass down this kind of information, except that they too can be misinformed. What then happens is that we turn to media to fill in the gaps, and this is where the problems can really begin. The mainstream media that we engage with is often funded by sponsorship and advertising, and this advertising consists of products and services that are contributing to a lot of our health issues in the first place, so we end up in a real vicious cycle. Now, supporting our immune system plays a vital role in ensuring great health, and preventative medicine is an alternative approach that helps to strengthen your immunity through nutrition, exercise, and other well-being activities. And whilst this approach will support a healthy mind and body, it is not something that we can adopt overnight, as it often involves a complete lifestyle overhaul. Now, when it comes to physical well-being, because we view health from the very 1D physical perspective, when we try to change anything, we'll also usually approach it head-on and attack the physical elements that we want to make a change to. When this is applied to illness and disease, we often accept the limitations placed upon us by this one-dimensional approach, and we can resign ourselves to thinking that hereditary illness and disease is going to be something that we'll have to accept as part of our genetic makeup. Except that that's just not the case anymore. And there have been some really exciting new discoveries coming out of recent research in the field of epigenetics that are revealing many illnesses and diseases that we once thought of as hereditary and passed down from generation to generation are in fact triggered by the lifestyle choices that we make. Our DNA carry genetic markers which can lie dormant or be triggered by the different elements of our lives. When these markers are triggered, this will then manifest as either a physical illness or a disease in our body. An excellent example of this is with our diets and the link to obesity. Obesity wasn't even an issue a few decades ago, but with almost 40% of adults and 20% of children in America now being obese, you can begin to see the impact that our love affair with junk food is having on our health. Our fitness levels are just as important, and it's essential that we develop a regular exercise routine in order to keep our epigenetic patterns balanced and stay in good health. Now, we've known for many years now how dangerous smoking and excessive alcohol consumption can be to our health, but we now know that these lifestyle choices also impact our DNA, triggering diseases such as cancer and heart disease. However, the impact of environmental pollutants has only recently been identified as another contributing factor to our health, and the chemicals that we use in our beauty and cleaning products, as well as the quality of the air that we breathe and the water that we drink, can impact our genetic makeup. Psychological stress is also known to impact our genes now, triggering illnesses such as bipolar disorder and depression. And with mental illness on the rise globally, especially in the wake of the pandemic, this could potentially be enough to trigger a pandemic of a different kind. And if you weren't already aware, working night shifts can be massively disruptive to your body's natural rhythms, as this limits your body's ability to carry out the essential repair work each and every night as you sleep. Now, we place so much focus on our physical bodies, but in actual fact, most of our life experience happens within our internal world of thoughts and feelings. It is essential to take both of these elements into consideration if we want to make any lifestyle changes that actually last. Unless this internal world of thoughts and feelings are in alignment with our actions, then our whole world can be thrown into chaos and we can end up living a life filled with drama and confusion. A great example of this is if you fall into yo-yo dieting patterns. By attacking only the physical element of the food, drink and exercise, you won't necessarily change the underlying beliefs and feelings that have created the unhealthy lifestyle in the first place, and there's a very good chance that you will revert back to your old ways in no time at all. Our feelings are essentially chemical reactions that take place in our body each and every day, and these reactions can be influenced by a multitude of things in our lives. Our internal dialogue and the thoughts that we think can trigger these emotional responses in us, but we can also be triggered by memories from the past, as well as reacting to stimulus within our environment. We can't possibly leave out our diet either, and what we put into our bodies each and every day has a huge impact on how we feel. A toxic diet will lead to toxic feelings. Our emotional well-being is the secret sauce that connects our mind with our body, and our emotions are often the reason why we make a lot of the lifestyle choices that we do. However, did you know that the thoughts we think can actually influence the chemical reactions that create the emotions we feel? In fact, every thought that we think has a pH measurement, and this means that they can trigger either an acidic or an alkaline chemical reaction within your body. An acidic thought would be something like anger or fear, and this creates a reaction in our body that releases chemicals such as cortisol or adrenaline, for example. Alkalizing thoughts, on the other hand, would be the ones that you think when you fall in love and focus on all of the amazing qualities that you love about your partner. This creates a different type of chemical reaction in your body and floods it with feel-good chemicals such as oxytocin and serotonin. From the physical perspective, our diet has the power to severely impact our emotional well-being. And coming from a place of lived experience, I truly understand how powerful this element of our lives can be. And I myself am a firm advocate of natural versus processed food. If you aren't eating enough alkaline foods such as fruit and vegetables, you will shift your body out of balance, and this will also impact how you feel each day. Every day there's an internal science experiment happening within your body, and what you eat and drink has a huge part to play in this. However, it's not just about your diet, and there are multiple elements such as your relationships and your environment that can also influence your emotions, but it is all about finding the right balance for you. Now, we've already touched upon the rise of psychological stress and mental illness, and I want to highlight to you that your mental well-being really is the foundation of all good health. If you get this right, the rest will fall into place much easier. When it comes to our mind, the way that we think can be broken down into the words that we say to ourselves, our internal dialogue or monkey mind, and also the pictures that we make in our mind's eye, which can often be flashbacks from past memories, or also imagining future events which have yet to happen. If the words that we speak to ourselves aren't kind and compassionate, then we are essentially abusing ourselves. Also, if we focus too much time on thinking about the past, this can lead to feeling depressed. However, thinking too much about the future, on the other hand, can lead to anxiety. The trick is to try and focus our time and attention on the present moment in order for us to achieve anything in life, including great health. So, if everything begins in the mind, then all we have to do is learn how to control the thoughts we're thinking. Sounds easy, right? Except the average person has around 6,000 thoughts every single day. And if you happen to suffer from anxiety or OCD, for example, that number can increase by up to 10 times. So how on earth does a person control up to 60,000 thoughts in any given day? Now, overthinking is the biggest cause of unhappiness and can be mentally, emotionally, and even physically draining. However, some of the ideas that we have in our minds can not only help our own life to improve, but also help many other people's lives to improve as well. So it's important that we learn to take back control and stop giving our power away. Without clear focus and direction of our thoughts, our energy becomes scattered and we begin to feel disempowered. Getting clear requires us to make a choice about which direction that we want to take in our life, and then focusing all of our energy towards that direction and taking action each day towards that goal. So in conclusion, essentially great health starts with a great mindset. Having healthy thoughts about yourself will lead to you taking healthy actions such as a clean diet and regular exercise, which in turn will create healthy emotions. However, so much of what we think and feel is influenced by our external world. So if you're filling your world with toxic vibes, especially from what you watch or who you engage with in real life or on social media, then you could be polluting the way that you think. Now, your mindset will either support you or limit you in life. If you have a fixed mindset, this means you will have a set of structured beliefs that you aren't necessarily open to questioning or changing. And this kind of thinking will keep you stuck, and you can end up repeating the same cycle over and over. A growth mindset, on the other hand, is when you are open to new ways to approach things and are open to improving upon what you already know and understand. This approach to thinking nurtures within you a mindset that will support your health and well-being throughout your entire life. Having an open mind is essential to nurturing a growth mindset, And this requires you to question not only any existing beliefs that you already have, but also the status quo we are presented with every day as we interact with society at large. Staying open to other people's opinions rather than defending our own often limiting beliefs allows us to learn from each other rather than creating conflict within our relationships. Our childhood can play a huge part in how we approach our lives as adults, and if, like me, you grew up in a toxic environment, you may have picked up a lot of toxic beliefs which could be limiting you in your capacity to achieve your full potential as an adult. Because of the nature of beliefs, we can change them at any time. We just need to be open to accepting that just because we believe something to be true doesn't mean that it actually is. This is the first step towards making change in your life so that you can move out of feeling stuck and take your life in a brand new, more empowered direction. Okay, for the exercise in this session today, I want you to think about your own health and ask yourself, what would you rate your overall health on a scale of 1 to 10? Then I want you to break it down into the 3 areas and ask yourself, do you currently have any physical ailments that may be holding you back from having great health? And how about your emotional well-being? Are you quite stable and balanced? Or do your emotions tend to fluctuate and do you suffer from mood swings? And then we come to your mental health. Have you or do you currently suffer with anxiety or depression, for example? Now, when it comes to the thoughts in your head, are you in the 6 or 60,000 bracket? And more importantly, are the words that you say to yourself kind and compassionate? Or do you constantly beat yourself up and give yourself a hard time? Now, we all have a tendency to think about the past or the future, but if you're spending a lot of time in your head going over situations that have already happened or worrying about future events that haven't yet happened, then this could really be draining your energy, and this will eventually impact your health in the long term. So realistically, how much time are you wasting going over these imaginary scenarios at the moment? And finally, do you accept things as they are? Or do you tend to challenge the status quo? Are you willing to open your mind to new ideas and concepts that could potentially change the way you think and feel to support you living a happier life? Okay, so you now have 2 options. You can either wait patiently for tomorrow's session, in which I'll be talking about addiction, and whether you recognise it or not, we are all addicts in one way or another. I'll be sharing with you where this addiction stems from and how the socially acceptable addictions that we are surrounded with in society are damaging our long-term health and well-being. Alternatively, if you just can't wait until tomorrow and you want to fast forward, you can get instant access to the rest of this course when you enrol in our flagship course, The Habit Revolution. The Habit Revolution is a 4-week course in which I'll share valuable life hacks, routines and self-care rituals which will support you in making the huge lifestyle shifts that are required to get your health and well-being back on track in just a matter of weeks. You can find out what the course entails by clicking this link to get more information about the content we'll cover and how you can enrol. If this isn't for you, I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's session.